Hey everyone, welcome to the Fin Factor live edition. This is the pre-shoot for episode number 52.
Yep.
Thank you, Aaron, for that
It's been a
tantalizing.
while. It's been a long summer.
Yes, it has. We got a whopping 9 folks.
9 watching right now. This is fantastic.
Again, we can tell who the real fans are.
Right.
It's very good. So thanks for joining us. If you guys have any comments or questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat there. Aaron has got the laptop out, so we'll go ahead and talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Hopefully Sharks related.
Yeah, I'll keep up this time, I promise.
Oh, yeah. If there's only 9 of you in there, I think we're gonna keep up. I think we'll be just fine.
Oh, it just jumped to 16.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, hello, 7 new people. How are you? Go ahead and let us know in the comments down below. We are going to be doing episode 52 tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the $1 million contract for Kevin Labanc. We're going to be talking a little bit about potentially some of the holes that are in the roster right now. I know a lot of people, including myself, were asking about Joe Thornton and when he was going to sign and all that stuff. So we'll kind of touch on a lot of that stuff.
Patrick Marleau, too. Those rumors
Yeah.
circling around.
Yeah.
We did talk a little bit about that, I think, in our last episode. And we talked about Kevin Labanc signing before he had signed. So we said it was probably coming in the next day or two.
Yeah.
And it came out. The signing announcement came out, I think, the day that we released our episode, but we had recorded a couple days before, so we missed out on it.
That's too bad.
Yeah, so we got some questions here. Is it concerning Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau haven't signed yet? No, because it's their summer. I think they've earned the right to take a summer break. Joe Thornton, I'm pretty sure, has verbally said that he's coming back.
Yeah.
They just have to hammer out the details at this point. It's not a big deal. It's July. It's still July. So training camp starts in September, I believe. They have a whole nother month. I wouldn't be surprised if they wait another couple weeks, sometime in August, maybe even closer to Labor Day, that they make an announcement. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I think Joe's coming back still. I don't think that's the reason he hasn't signed yet. I think he's just we talked about Kevin Labanc and Erik Karlsson before that being the dominoes that are falling, right? When we saw Erik Karlsson get signed, that was like the big domino to fall, and we figured the rest of it's going to come in after that. Pavelski obviously not able to re-sign after that. We're looking to Kevin Labanc. Like you said, the last episode we had talked about Kevin Labanc going to be signing soon. That happened shortly thereafter, releasing that video.
Right.
And I felt that we would see Joe Thornton or maybe Patrick Marleau kind of signing the same time, same day, shortly after that. I think right now the reason that he hasn't been signed yet is they just haven't got a dollar amount figured out, and there's one of the things you were talking about too, but not for the same reasons I don't think that you have. I think if there's any other trade or deal or anything to be made, I think Doug's still looking at any of the other options that are on the table right now with other teams and whatnot. I think if you see Joe Thornton get signed, that's probably it. The rosters are locked, right? That's what I think is happening there. So I think that that Joe Thornton has not been signed yet is kind of indicative of something still kind of going with Doug Wilson. That he's still in talks with some other team. He's still, maybe trying to work some angle about maybe a trade or an acquisition or something to that effect.
One of the questions is about Aaron Dell.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Dell is going to get moved or bought out. I don't think he's going to get bought out. But buying out somebody with that little amount of money isn't worth it, really, because that money stays on your books for a couple years. So it's just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, no. I could see him maybe trying to work a trade where he maybe just trades him for a draft pick or a prospect or something.
Yeah.
Someone might see some value in him as a backup role. He wouldn't be able to get sent down to the minors because he'd get picked up on waivers. So he'd have to be a backup somewhere.
Well, the fact that somebody would pick him up on waivers means that some team would be interested in him, right? So It's just a matter of finding that team. So, I mean, again, I think that if you see Joe Thornton get signed, I don't think you see anything else happening with that roster. And that's what I mean by the dollar amount, is because if you're trading for a guy and his dollar amount's a little bit higher, then Joe's going to end up taking a little bit less. If they're getting nothing else happens, then okay, maybe Joe gets a little bit more. If we do sign Patrick Marleau, I know you're thinking maybe a little more. I think he gets the league minimum just because he's already getting paid his $6 million anyway. So,
right. I mean, I don't think he's going to get paid a lot more money.
Sure.
I think it's more of it's not going to be. I think the league minimum for his how many years he's played is like $1 million something.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not the 800 or 750 or whatever.
I think is what. Yeah.
It goes by years of service, and he's had so many. So I think he'd be probably just a little over $1 million. I'm sure Thornton would come in probably about I don't know, maybe close to 2.
Sure.
1.5 to 2, depending on how much space there is. He's probably just going to kind of work out to see what's left and what would be available.
And that last phrase right there from you, the depending on how much space is left, that's again why I think he just hasn't signed yet. So no, I don't think there's any cause for concern. I'm sure he's coming back. It's just a matter of getting every other duck in a row before going ahead and approaching him for the signature there. So.
Bone Diggity 7777.
Hey,
dudes, I missed you guys. How's your summer going for you? How's your summer?
So far so good actually. So I know a while back I had kind of showcased my son's gold regional medal from the Narch tournament. They just had the finals in Irvine, down in Irvine, and we went there. We had a great time. Went to Legoland for a few days, and I have to admit, I don't know, you guys are probably gonna clown me on this. I don't care. But at Legoland, they have little stations where you can trade minifigures and their hair and their feet and whatever else, right? And that's just what I enjoy doing. I grew up loving Legos, and so I'm hitting all these stations up trying to trade them out. So it was a lot of fun, and we made some pretty fun looking characters and stuff too. And the kids liked it. I actually had I made one that was white pants, purple shirt, black helmet with a visor. I made a little hockey player. He got a hockey stick and some skates too.
Nice.
So it was actually really accurate. It was pretty good.
Cool.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. But the Narch tournament, they went and they played 6 and under tournament. My son, the first game he got 2 goals. I was extremely proud. The first goal, there was a kid named Nikolai, picked up the puck on the right-hand side, passes it right to the center. Jace hits a one-timer, boom, right in the back of the net. Again, he's
sweet.
5 years old, so I was like jumping through the roof. And I actually got to coach it too, which was a really awesome experience. My first real experience coaching for like a tournament, apart from the one game that when we won the regionals. And then the second game, or actually the second goal, first game, he ends up taking the puck behind the net, and we're yelling pass, and he goes coast to coast, and he puts everyone to shame. It was beautiful. Yeah, no, and I was just really proud of him. So yeah, no, my summer has been great so far. Mostly been hockey related. I've been taking my sons to practices, and where it's just me and them. So it's just been a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
How about you?
We haven't really done a whole lot yet, but we're going on vacation in 2 days.
Oh, okay.
For 2 weeks. We're going to East Coast, so we'll be gone for a while. But yeah, my kids are 1 and 3, so a little bit too young for Legoland. But
Never too young.
Well, I'm into it. I know I would be into it. Calvin definitely would be into it. Lily's just would put everything in her mouth. So
Sure.
we don't want to take her to Legoland yet. We're more at the Gilroy Gardens stage right now at this point. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And Calvin is into rides now, which is exciting. So we've done the boardwalk a couple of times.
There you go.
Some other little stuff. So that's been our summer.
Very cool.
The next 2 weeks I'll be at the beach though. So
Why don't you guys comment about how your summer has been going? If you've done anything phenomenal. If you're just sitting around, don't bother commenting. But if you're doing something fun, let us know. That'd be cool.
I'm concerned about This is from Jack Frost. I'm concerned about San Jose's defense. I feel like our defense is going to be a lot weaker this upcoming season. I think it's going to be a lot stronger than it was last season. I think the addition of Bob Bugner is going to be tremendous to all around the entire defense. I don't know if there's been any announcements for any other coaching changes other than that one. So he took over for the defensive responsibilities, I guess, the defenseman. So he was here a couple years ago, and he coached Burns, and it was the year that Burns won the Norris Trophy. So if you guys know Burns, right? Like he was forward converted to a defenseman, and his defense was not very good, and Bugner really helped him with it, and he became a better all-around defenseman. His offense is easy; like you can't really make it any better than what it is. So he helped him with his defense, and he won a Norris Trophy. Then he took a head coaching job with the Florida Panthers for, I think, 2.5 seasons, and then got canned and then came back here. So it's good for him. He's going to have more experience being a head coach and coming back here. So, and no, I don't think he's going to take over as a head coach for all the Pete DeBoer haters. They're still out there. It's more of he's going to work some wonders, kind of be another Wookiee whisperer, but not just Burns. It's going to help Carlson, Burns, everybody.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna solidify that defense, and Martin Jones' numbers are gonna go up or down, I guess. They'll get better.
They better not go up.
And yeah, so I think the defense is gonna get better because of that reason.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think the defense will be better. I know what you're getting at. We're losing Braun, and he was a big solid defensive partner for Vlasic for a very long time. The problem with Braun was we weren't playing him all that much, I don't think, right? And especially in a season like the season coming up when you've got Karlsson back and healthy, that roster spot is taken. It's going to be taken more often. And with Schimmick back, that roster spot again is going to be taken. So I imagine that Schimmick and Burns are going to pair back up again. I imagine that Karlsson will either pair with Vlasic or with Dylan again, in which case then you've got Vlasic and Braun, or whoever would be with Braun, in that case Dylan, if not Vlasic. You'd have both of them playing, third pairing minutes. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me. So I think what you're going to see is with Schimmick playing with Burns, beforehand we didn't really have a solid partner for Burns outside of when Schimmick was there. So I think what you're going to see now is a more solid, more steady partner alongside Burns. You're going to have Bob Bugner there to help him out, Schimmick as well. So I just think that the defense is going to be, all around better than it was last season. Yes, you're losing Braun, who is a very solid player defensively, but when you have the guys coming back in with their health top notch, and you have the defensive coach and the prowess from Bob Bugner stepping back in, I think that it's all kind of even out and actually be bolstered. So I would look for the defense to be much better. And like you said, Martin Jones, any goaltender who's going to be behind that, if it's Dell steps in for a couple games here and there, or if Bibo gets a chance, if Dell gets traded, or Koshinash, right? If any of these guys come in, I think all their numbers are going to be a little bit better than they would have been with the same coaching and the same core of defensemen as last season. So look for it to be better.
Marty T, could you slot Jumbo and Patty on the same line, though? Yeah. You could do whatever you want, but yeah. I would put them on the third line together, and then I think what I would do is put Shemlevsky on that line, because I'm gonna mess this up all season. He's a right-handed shot, and Thornton loves to play with a right-handed shot. He would be under two Hall of Famers. I think they're both guaranteed in the Hall of Fame at this point in their careers. Can you imagine, like, you're coming into your very first rookie season in the NHL and you're slotted on a line with Marleau and Thornton? Like, how much you would learn from that and play well. Not just learn, but you're playing well. Look at LeBanc. He had a great season last year with Thornton on as a centerman.
And I think Sorensen is comparable to like a Marleau, right, in terms of their play styles and whatnot.
Right? I would take Marleau over Sorensen.
Sure.
If you had him at the same price.
That's fair.
Still, like, Sorensen wasn't scoring like crazy. He played well. I'm not saying he didn't play well.
Yeah.
I think he's a little quicker, not speed-wise, but quickness. I think he's a little bit better. But Marleau and Patty and Jumbo can still play. Like, there's no question that they can still play. Patty hasn't missed a game in how many seasons? 11 seasons?
No.
Yeah.
Was that many?
Yeah. It goes way back. Maybe not 11. I think it was 5. I thought we counted it. I thought it was almost 10. Because I thought it was 5, and I looked. I was like,
regardless, it's been a long time.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for that guy.
So, yeah, he's not going to be a 40-goal scorer, but he'll chip in 20 goals to the third line. I'd take that.
Sure.
For $1 million. You get him and LeBanc for $1 million each.
Yeah.
That's pretty good value.
Although we think LeBanc's going to play higher than third line.
That's what I'm saying. I think LeBanc gets bumped up to the second line.
Yeah.
Then that third line winger would be Shemlevsky. He is eventually going to be the centerman, or a centerman, but the Sharks like to have two centermen anyway, taking faceoffs, so Marleau could still do that too, I'm sure. But
I think it was that Kurz article where they're saying that he'd slot in on the wing and then eventually move back into center just like Hurdle did.
Exactly.
He made the comparison to Tomas Hurdle in that article,
Yep. Okay, anyway. Do you think Gaudreau gets traded in season? That's hard to say at this point. We still don't even know what the roster is going to look like right now for the third and fourth lines, really. Even all the lines.
Yeah.
Other than the defense and the goalie situation, I think the forwards are kind of up in the air and where everyone's going to fit in. So we're going to wait for a couple more signings or non-signings.
Yeah.
And then fill in the holes with whatever prospects you have coming up from the AHL.
Yeah, I think you still have Logan and Timo, and I think you still have Hurdle with Kane. I think you'll have, what's his name, LeBanc slot in, obviously, on one of those two lines. And then they're talking about a rookie jumping in there, be it, Shmelyevsky or, anybody else that is promising at the
Djokovic
camp.
or
Yeah,
True.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple options.
There's a couple guys that look like they're ready to play now. True, I think again in that article they said True, slotting in on the fourth line. They were looking 3 years ahead and saying that
Right.
True would be like a fourth liner. True led the Barracuda in points. I think last season it was either points or goals. Well, Perron was way up there too.
Points.
But
He had 55
was
points in like 68 games or something.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, he these are guys that they play really well in the American League, and then when they come out to the NHL, they have the physical side to really help continue that game. Like some of these guys that blow it up in the lower leagues are a lot smaller, and they can't handle the speed, they can't handle the physicality. True's a big boy. He can handle himself out there, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him jump in and maybe not play like first line or second line, but I wouldn't be surprised if he stepped into like say a third line role. We just talked about Jumbo and Patty potentially on that third line, and then throwing Chikovic or whoever else on that line with him. But True's a guy that physically looks like he might be ready for the NHL. He may not put up as many points as he did obviously in the AHL, but this is how you get these guys the experience. You start calling them up, and I think that's one of the nice things about having slots open on the roster is that you can bring a guy in, and they're looking for skill positions. It's not just putting a guy that's a skill player on the fourth line like a Dylan Gambrell. If you have like a second or third line wing position that's open, you're able to give these guys the opportunity to play and try to score goals, not just to be out there and skate, right, for fourth line minutes. You're giving them the opportunity to play with players that are trying to put the puck in the back of the net. So I think that's a good opportunity for a lot of these guys that are coming in from the AHL to step in, play with some guys that are out there to score goals, and they're expected to score goals.
Definitely.
And give them some really good experience. So I don't know. I kind of like that there's a little bit of a revolving door there. I would like it to be more solidified. Don't get me wrong, but it's not such a bad thing, I would say.
Yeah, I like how they throughout the year DeBoer kind of had a revolving door in a way, or maybe not revolving door, but the lines got jumbled up so much that everyone had chemistry with each other no matter where they landed. So when come playoff time, when there were injuries and you had to mix up the lines, it didn't throw everything off.
And there were injuries.
I mean, look how the Sharks were 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
They were the third best team out of 31 teams. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good finish.
Considering how banged up they were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they got progressively more banged up the further into the playoffs they went. So I don't mind them jumbling that up a lot, and then also kind of having a bunch of these guys, like what we saw last year. Who started third line center beginning of the year? You remember?
I don't remember.
Suomela.
Ah, that's right.
What happened to him?
That's right.
He's still around. He signed another year contract.
Yeah.
He's still here.
Yeah.
So everyone started the year. Everyone last year, a year ago today, or a year ago last summer, right? Everyone was like, "Oh, Suomela is going to be the answer to the third line center. He's great. He led the Finnish league.
Yeah.
I'm going to mess that up. Swedish, Finnish. I don't know.
The Swiss league.
Inside joke.
Yeah.
Or Swiss.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I even screwed that up. But anyway, going into last year, everyone was right now like talking about, that third line center. It's going to be because we lost Chris Tierney.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to take that spot? Oh, Suomela's going to take it. And he started 20 games?
Yeah.
And then went to the AHL and never came back. So we can talk about this all day if you want. Like the starting lineup, it's just still not going to be set. It's still not even training camp.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get too worked up about it or too worried that somebody hasn't signed like Thornton or Marlowe.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to fall together. Don't worry.
See, I think a lot of this stems from like for me, like having the lineup set. I mean, when I play NHL 19 or 20 soon to be, right? I worry about it because I set my lines, right? And then I just go.
Right.
But I think in the real world, it
doesn't
really work that way. Yeah, you kind of have this mixing pot of chemistry that you're
there's
constantly
a
moving
personal
around.
experience of signing a contract with somebody,
Yeah.
and wanting them to stay and trying to kind of court them in a way. It's not just here's some money and I know it's 10% less, right, than what you asked for because it's what works in the game.
Yeah, that's what works. 10%, 15% sometimes, 10%, easy. Yeah. Sin for the win. Actually, if you're watching, you can jump in on that one. That he's a gamer.
Yeah.
That Sin for the win guy.
Oh yeah. He's I don't know if he's in here tonight, but
okay.
I haven't seen him pop up. Let's talk about the defense because there's some talk in there.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit behind on these people, but
how?
just like I see a comment, I want to like talk about it,
Okay,
but
yeah.
we're talking, so I hold it, so I get behind.
Fair.
All right, so we have Who would you pair up with who? I think Burns and Simic
is
are
a
done.
lock.
That's a lock.
Yeah.
Now Carlson and Vlasic. That's
Either-
what I think.
Okay, here's the thing. I liked Carlson Dillon way more than Carlson Vlasic.
I did too, but I just don't think it's going to go that way.
But the ice time.
Money talks.
Money talks fine, but the ice time, I
Right.
think, is the problem, right?
Ice time / money.
Okay.
That's my point.
Well, I just think that Vlasic is too good of a defensive defenseman to give him only a handful of minutes. And I think all these guys that are at the top of their game in terms of, where I would rank these guys, offensive defensemen, we have the two best players in the league, in my opinion. Defensive defenseman, Marc-Andre Vlasic's up there. If he's not at the top, he's certainly up there. So these guys need minutes
yes.
To get into the game, to get into the flow of it. They want to eat up a lot of minutes.
He had a very bad start last
Yes.
year, and then he had a very good ending to last year. The Sharks did not win
without him.
Yep. They had 0 playoff wins without him in the lineup. So he's still a very important person on this defense.
Absolutely.
And I think him and Carlson, and you're going to see probably career numbers for Vlasic because of it, just like we saw career numbers for Dylan because he played with Carlson. So I think they're going to at least start the year that way, maybe give it 20, 30 games, and if it's just not working, then switch it up. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's kind of what they did last season, right? They gave it 10 games, they switched it up, and they gave it another 10 or 20 or whatever it was.
But Carlson just needed at least 20, 30 games, and then he was feeling good, and the team was feeling good about him because they had to learn him too. Not just the defense pairing, but the forwards, everybody had to learn how he plays because he's so different from everyone.
And I think the pairing with Vlasic, I still think that there was something going on with Vlasic there. I'm not sure exactly what it was, or maybe we did discuss that in the previous season. I don't know. But there was something, I think, going wrong with Vlasic. Not necessarily physically, but something was holding him back. Then he got injured. We know that he got injured after the fact. But before that, I think there was just something else that was kind of messing with his head, and it was kind of keeping him from playing the way that he knows. We all know that he can play in the first, 20 games or so. So
yeah. Rob Iman says, I think Pete DeBoer will be on the hot seat this season with the Pacific Division being weak. I don't think so. I still think the Sharks are one of the top, I'd say top 3 team in the division.
That's kind of how I feel about it too.
I don't think Vegas got better. I think they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with all these contracts they're handing out and trading away some of the players so that they can get under the cap.
Well, okay, so maybe that's what he means by is he on the hot seat, because if the Sharks are that great of a team, they should be, right? So maybe that's what he means by is he on the hot seat. I think, if you take that into account, I think every coach is always on the hot seat then, right? I mean, you always want your coach to perform well, there's expectations, right? If you're a team that's rebuilding, the expectation is that your group is growing and learning and getting better, right? If your group's not doing that and it's falling apart on you, then that coach is on the hot seat. If you're a team like Tampa Bay, is John Cooper on the hot seat?
Yep.
Right? I mean, if that is not the definition of a coach needing to be on the hot seat, I don't know what is.
Can you imagine if Tampa loses another first-round matchup?
Yeah.
They'll probably dominate the league again this season, and who knows what happens.
Let's play that scenario out a little bit farther, okay? So John Cooper, Tampa Bay does as well as he did last season.
President's Trophy again.
Sure. Then they lose in the first round. John Cooper gets immediately let go, right? If the Sharks get bounced out in the first round and Pete DeBoer's on the hot seat, did the Sharks pick up John Cooper? Would you go after a guy who just got fired?
He's not a playoff winner.
Okay. So
that's the thing. The regular season doesn't matter as much.
There you go.
I don't need to win divisions. I need to win cups.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I look at Pete DeBoer and I look at Pete DeBoer and I mean he's taken us to a conference final. He's taken us to the NHL to the Cup finals, right? I mean we've been places at least with Pete DeBoer. And he's only been with us for 4 seasons. It's 2016, right?
He brought us to the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 3 seasons, 4 seasons. I can't remember, but I don't know the numbers. I can't math
done
right
4.
now. Okay.
This will be his 5th.
5th.
But he just signed a 4-year extension. Starting this year, starting this season.
Yeah, I mean, if you just signed to an extension, that's another key piece of it, right?
He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. You just signed the guy to an extension.
I mean, unless they tanked and didn't make playoffs, then I could see maybe. But even then, something catastrophic must have happened.
Yeah, exactly. They'd have to be in such a horrible position to unload him when they just gave him that extension.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't see that happening. So, in short, to answer your question, no, I don't think Pete DeBoer's on the hot seat, at least not this season.
Here's a great question from Frank Sinceri. I don't know if you know this
Hey!
guy. Are there any new rule changes or additions this season? Do you know what they are?
You know every single one of them if you want to roll through.
Well, I just pulled it up again because
Okay.
I think we talked about this in the last show, maybe.
Yeah, a
maybe
little
2
bit.
shows ago.
Yeah.
I mean, the big one is the coach's challenge.
Yeah.
They changed that up so they can pretty much
The hand pass and
everything. I think they can challenge just about everything. But now, I think before it was only offsides. If you challenge an offside and it wasn't overruled, you get a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think anything that you challenge is a penalty.
nice.
So it's kind of a. I think that's a good way to do it. I mean, imagine if the NFL did that for a challenge. If you lose, you get a 10-yard penalty
Yeah.
against your team. That'd be like, ooh, are you really sure we should do this, right? I think it's a good way to do it. Referees can now review major match penalties, aka the Pavelski penalty,
yeah.
and double minor high sticking penalties, which I think is good because I think they miss a lot when
Yeah.
they do actually get hit and they're bleeding and they miss it. Now they can go to the video. I think that's a long time coming.
Sure.
The helmet rule, I think, is just silly. I understand it. I understand why they have to do it because it's illegal. It's like a CYA type thing. They need to make sure that nobody gets hurt because nobody has gotten hurt. Doesn't mean nobody will get hurt.
Okay.
And with all the head injury stuff that they're worried about, I understand. To me, this is lawyers drawing up, not hockey players.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is the lawyers of the league saying,
Yes.
okay, if they want to protect heads, then this is the rule that we need in place. I'm not, again, I don't agree with it. I just understand where it's coming from.
Yes, and I agree with you. It's very lawyer-esque. It absolutely is because I don't recall many instances at all where a guy got hurt because his helmet was off.
Now think about this: helmet's off, and he's going into the boards, misses a guy or something, hits
Yeah.
his head, cracks his skull open,
Mm-hmm.
and his career's ending. Awful,
Yeah.
but he could also sue the league.
Okay.
That's where I think this is rules coming from. Like, it's to cover themselves for a future potential injury.
And why
That's it.
is this a problem this season as opposed to 10 seasons ago?
I think it's just time for. They're probably like, it's time for us to do this rule.
I
That's
guess
what I
so.
think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you that it's lawyer-esque, that it's silly. I don't really see the actual purpose behind it beyond.
By the way, let's explain the rule for
Go
people
ahead.
who have no idea what we're talking about. The new rule is if your helmet pops off during the play, you have to immediately stop what you're doing and go get a helmet off the bench, which is odd.
You're supposed to go to the bench. I don't think you're allowed to pick the helmet off the ice unless they made a change to that, or they're doing something different. I know in was it World Juniors or one of the international tournaments, or it's World Juniors or something like that.
Yeah,
if the helmet
they had
pops off, you have to go to the bench. You can't
Yeah.
even just pick it up.
That's what it is. If it comes off a play, you must exit the playing surface
Yes.
or retrieve and replace his helmet properly in his head, with or without the chin strap fastened. So you just have to pop it back on. The player who is making a play on the puck or is in position to make an immediate play will give a reasonable opportunity to do it. So if you have the puck and your helmet pops up, you don't just drop your stick,
Yeah.
put your helmet back on. You could play it and then go back and get it.
Okay.
So it's reasonable. I was wrong. You don't have to get a new helmet. You have to either exit or pick up your helmet.
Yeah.
Um,
But if you exit, you want to come back on, you have to have a helmet.
I don't think this is as bad as what everyone's making it out to be.
Okay.
How often does a helmet?
I just think it's goofy. Like, why?
But
You
how
know?
often does a helmet pop off?
Not
And
that
they
often.
don't, and it's not like right there. Like
Right.
it goes across the ice.
Yeah.
Right. That's probably pretty rare.
Yeah.
So I don't. I think it's getting blown out of proportion. Now that I
Sure.
reread what it is exactly,
Totally fair.
I think there might be one chance this entire season where it's like, oh, that rule just screwed them. Right? Like it's not
Sure.
like a game changer.
Sure.
It's not
Sure.
whatever.
My whole thing behind this is that it's just goofy. I just don't. I think
yeah.
it's entirely unnecessary. But hey, you want to throw in there under the guise of it's going to make everybody safer? Go right ahead. But it's just silly to me.
Line changes for the defensive team. They're not allowed to make a change similar to like when there's an icing if the goalie freezes the puck from any shot outside the center line.
Which again,
Kind of rare, right? I mean,
okay.
or if the goalie unintentionally dislodges the net from the moorings, which I think is good because
Yes.
this is the flurry rule.
Yes.
Right? Because he does it all the time.
I guess that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an instance that they're pointing to and saying, "Oh, this was a problem." The hand pass. Okay, point to that and say that was a problem. We'll make a rule about that.
I like this
right?
one because I think it's a problem when your team is tired. It's the second period and you have the long change and you can't get off the ice. And the net came off. We can get a line change now because there's a face off.
Right.
That's kind of cheap, man.
Right.
To me, that's like the rule that they put in place where after an icing call, you can't have a commercial break anymore. Because the Ducks used to do this all the time with Pronger and Niedermeyer.
Yeah.
They knew that there was a commercial coming up, and so they would ice the puck and get a break. Then it's a 2-minute break. You get a 2-minute timeout.
Yeah.
And then you come back. Like, you don't need to go to the bench at that point. You're up for 2 minutes. You get to sit there. So I remember getting so angry when they would ice the puck. I'm like, I know what you're doing, and you're doing it on purpose. It's so unfair. But they won a cup, so whatever.
Good thumbnail for this show.
Face-offs following an icing, and to begin a power play, now you can choose which face-off dot you get.
Yeah.
As the offensive
I like
team.
that.
That's great. The awarded goal one is cheesy. That's this might happen once in every 5 years, where if there's a breakaway and the goalie dislodges the puck or dislodges the goal, it's an automatic goal. Similar to a breakaway with no goalie in the net, which we saw Joe Thornton score earlier last season.
Yeah.
He had a breakaway, no goalie. The goalie was pulled, and he got tripped, and he couldn't get the shot off. It's an automatic goal.
Because
Again,
otherwise
it's
it
gonna
would
be
be
rare.
a penalty shot if the goalie was in net. With no goalie in net, they just award a goal.
This one is the most interesting one. The puck out of bounds when you're in the offensive zone.
Yeah.
If the offensive team is responsible for the puck going over the glass or out of play, the faceoff stays in the faceoff circle or stays in the offensive zone. Doesn't come out into the neutral zone anymore. The only time it didn't, which was a newer rule a couple years ago, is if you hit it off the post and it goes out. It used to come out into the neutral zone now, and that stayed in.
Yeah.
This is kind of expanding that rule a little bit. So we're going to see a lot more offensive draws, a lot more teams kind of getting stuck, I think, especially if they're not a good face-off team defensively to get that puck out. So what I can see happening is maybe teams intentionally putting the puck out of play.
To get the draw again.
But I think the refs would be able to call a delay of game penalty for that. Because that would be a true delay of game if you intentionally lifted it up and just put it out.
Yeah,
it's not the delay of game automatic one. It's it's a discretion call from the ref.
Right.
So that could happen. So now that I've been over there,
yeah,
I'm way behind the stuff. So go ahead if you want to say anything.
No, I don't. I mean, look, there's going to be some definite changes to the rules and some things that as viewers we're not going to be used to. When it happens, we're kind of going to scratch our head a little bit maybe. But there's some things that they're doing. I wish that. Again, the thing with the hand pass rule and the Pavelski thing, I get those. Certain things like the helmet popping off, was there an instance that happened that they decided they had to call this rule out, or is it just lawyer speak, as Aaron's saying, they just decided this is the year they're going to do it? I think if there's an issue that they're addressing, great. If they're just making up new rules just to be making up new rules, that I don't get. So I think I don't like having tons and tons and tons of extra rules that don't necessarily make any sense. I'd like the game to be a little bit simpler if possible, but it is what it is. Everyone's gonna have to play by these rules too. So it's not like it's only gonna affect one team or another. Everyone's gonna be affected by this stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's adding to the rule book, making it a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
Harder to ref in a
Sure.
way. Feel bad for the refs. Let's move on to Jack Frost. Do you think Kane will rebound this season? During the playoffs, he did not seem himself. And then followed up by Rob. Kane is a player on the hot seat this season. I agree with that. I think Kane, unless something was wrong, he claimed he didn't have any injury. I still think he had an injury. He had something was going on. Had to have. If not, then this is the Evander Kane that both the Buffalo Sabres fans and Winnipeg Jets fans warned San Jose Sharks fans about for signing him to a big contract.
Yeah.
Because they were worried, or they claimed, that once he gets paid, he kind of disappears. And if that's true, and that's what happened this season, then great, we have another 6 years of him. If not, hopefully there was some kind of injury or something going on. I mean, obviously we know what was going on in his personal life earlier in the season.
Yeah.
I don't think that really carried over into the playoffs. I don't know. I could be wrong. But he was not the same player. He kind of seemed like the player a year ago who injured his shoulder and was ineffective against the Vegas series in round 2. So I think he is kind of on the hot seat a little bit. They're going to look for him to be a leader. I know you want him to be more of a goal scorer.
Yeah, I'd like him to be more of the goal scorer that I know he can be. I'll say this: I don't think that Winnipeg or Buffalo were very good teams since they never went to the playoffs in the years that he played there. So if those fans are going to point the finger directly at Evander Kane, maybe they should look at the whole rest of the team and the issues that the rest of the team was having. Because if he disappeared, I guarantee you there's a lot of people on both of those teams that disappeared as well because they didn't even make playoffs.
Right.
Okay, so if you want to point the finger at Evander Kane, hey, absolutely go right ahead. I think we've seen what he's capable of. Yes, he got paid, and hopefully, he has a rebound season. But let's think about what he's rebounding from. Okay, let's not forget he lost a child. Okay, so that's a very devastating thing. I don't know if anyone's ever had to go through that. Thankfully, I never have. But I can imagine how much that affects your focus, your attention to the details of the game, as opposed to just going out there trying to have a clear head and trying to get the game done. I don't think it's an excuse. I think people that call it out as, oh yeah, you guys have brought that up. It's been like a long time. Yeah, it's the loss of a life, man. Like you need to give him some space, give him some time. And I think that this past season, was almost a bit of a mulligan, really, because you can't really put a finger on how any one person is going to react to that. Some people are going to get over it right away because maybe they never knew it, right? Or the unborn. I mean, they didn't know it, they didn't have that attachment, which I don't really agree with that either. I think there is some level of attachment. So
definitely.
Yeah, right. So I mean, you don't know how any one person is going to react to that. You may react a certain way. I may react completely differently, and Evander Kane may react a completely different way. And to say that he's on the hot seat because he didn't perform for this season, I don't know. I think what I would like to see is maybe him being able to get back to the game that I know he's capable of playing. I'd love to see that because I know he's this guy's like a 30 goal scorer, right? I mean, and he's a physical force. He's the guy that's out there always, standing up for his teammates. He's, the guy that's getting underneath Ryan Reeves' skin, calling him the babysitter and everything, right? I mean, he brings a whole lot to this team. So I don't think that he's on the hot seat for a couple reasons. One, he brings so much more than just goal scoring, and he is a phenomenal goal scorer on top of all that. But, beyond that, I don't know. I just think it's a little too early to say that he's on the hot seat. I mean, he signed a 7-year, $7 million deal. Do you think they're going to unload him after 1 year?
No.
Or this would be the second. Do you think they'll unload him after 2 years?
I don't think so. Okay, I'm not too worried about him. It's more of I expect more out of him in the playoffs. That's all.
Sure. I think playoffs would be the time that you want him to shine there, right? But again, I think for this past season, I almost want to just say I'd kind of give him a mulligan. Whatever we got out of him, especially after that point in time, is just kind of like an icing on the cake kind of thing. Because I wouldn't really expect him to perform at the highest level after going through something like that. So hopefully he's had the amount of time that he needs to heal from that whole experience, and he'll be back and ready to play. Not just for us as fans, but for him and his career and for his family, because again, these guys are doing this is their job. So hopefully he's able to get back to that. But I would not say he's on the hot seat.
Yeah. Moving to Angelo Nunes. Do you think LeBanc would be better at center? No, because and I saw your comment earlier about him being better at center because he's more of a playmaker. But I don't think changing to a center from a winger is not as easy as going from a winger from a center
to a winger.
Right. So I think I don't think that would work out well, especially at the NHL level. Maybe if he was down in the AHL and he could practice on it first, but it wouldn't make sense. And the Sharks are better. They have more depth at center than they do at winger. So he's a natural winger, and he's a playmaker. He also is an elite shooter, and I think we're going to see more goals out of him this year. His confidence rose a lot more this year, especially in the second half of the season. The first half, he didn't have a great first half. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as good as it was in the second half. You could tell after the All-Star break, I think he had a little talk with Pete DeBoer because Pete DeBoer was expecting him, and he's talked about it before. LeBanc talked about it where he was only given 70-80%, where he's making a couple of mistakes in the defensive zone, and he can't do any of that. So he's been working hard on his 200-foot game and has been getting better, getting more ice time, getting more trust. So it's working. But no, I going back to your question, I don't think he'd be a good center. Not every playmaker is a center. There are wingers that are playmakers as well, and there are centers that are shooters that aren't playmakers.
Right.
So playmakers don't have to be pigeonholed as a center.
Yeah, and I would say that if you are looking for somebody to play at the center position, like Aaron said, there's a couple guys that play wing on the Sharks right now who are naturally centers. Tomas Hertl was one of those guys. We got guys that are coming up. I mean, there was a year that I think it was the previous season where we had drafted guys that were all centers, and I guarantee you they're looking for those guys to play on the wing as well. Just because you got a guy that can take faceoffs because he's been doing that for his career. He's been a centerman. Kevin LeBanc, on the other hand, if you need a guy who's going to be playing center, you need someone who's playing that middle ice up and down and who's able to play defensively solid, right, in that center area, not just taking the points, right, as a winger would. I think the last guy on the team that you want to put as a center is a guy who's not known for being defensively sound. He's kind of made some defensive mistakes, like he just talked about there. So I don't think that, and he doesn't take any penalty kill minutes either, right? I mean,
Right.
you would think that if he was trusted defensively, he'd be either already playing as a center or he'd be talked about in a higher regard with regard to his defensive game, or he'd be playing on the PK as a winger. But he does none of those. So I don't think that he'd be a good candidate to convert from wing to center. There are some players that maybe would be. I just don't think he's one of them. I think he does a great job on the wing. I think he's one of those guys that you can count on. He's got some good foot speed. You can pass him up the puck because the wingers are usually the first ones up and out of the zone. Get him the puck right away. He can handle it, and he's got really silky mitts. He's really fast, so I think he's great on the wing. I think you keep him there, and he can feed the puck from the wing to the center and get a one-timer or a cross-creaser, get a one-time there. There's a lot of good stuff with Kevin LeBanc staying on the wing, so I like him there.
Let's finish off with a roll call. Tell us where you are watching from and how you found us. And then I'm going to take one last question, and it's about Martin Jones.
Oh.
Do you think, where'd it come from? Sorry. Heartbeat Hipster, is this season Martin Jones' last chance? He is signed through the 2024 season.
Yeah.
The 23-24 season. No, I don't think it's his last chance. I think what we had talked about earlier about the defenseman being Bob Bugner coming back and helping the defenseman, everything's kind of gets shored up and tighter. The Sharks lost a lot of their depth scoring with Pavelski gone. Nyquist didn't sign. Donskoy gone. So that took away a lot of their punch that they had last year offensively. I think we're going to see some goals dip down because of that, but we're also going to see the goals against go down dramatically. So I think Martin Jones's numbers are going to get a lot better because of that. And if they don't, would it be his last chance? What do you think? If he had roughly the same season as he did last year.
Yeah, if Bugner comes in and the defense is playing well in front of Jones, which we didn't see last season, let's be honest, okay? His numbers did reflect that the defense in front of him, not just the defensemen, but the team defense in front of him just didn't really protect him that well. If they're doing a much better job and he's letting in actual soft goals, not just ones that everybody likes to say, that's a soft goal because it went in on Twitter, right? If it's an actual soft goal that goes in and it's consistent, then yeah, maybe he's on the hot seat, if you will, right? But like you just said, he's signed through 2024.
Yep.
And he's getting paid $5 million a season.
He is
5 point something.
5.75.
So 5.75. So then you've got to think about, okay, if it's his last chance, what are you going to do? Are you going to trade him? Are you going to buy him out? I mean, what is it that you're planning on doing? I don't think buyouts are in the cards for anybody for the next couple seasons because we're right up against the cap. We're going to have to sign some new blood, and especially like Kevin LeBanc's going to see when Tomas Hertl in a few years is going to need a bump.
Well, next year we have a lot coming off the books because we have Paul Martin.
Yeah.
And who's the other one coming off? Aaron Dell.
Well, Aaron Dell's
still there.
yeah.
Paul Martin was the only buyout that we had that's coming off.
Right.
Aaron Dell's coming off. Brendan Dillon's coming off. That's 3.2.
Well, you don't think they're going to re-sign Dillon?
I don't know. Melker Carlson comes off. That's another 2. And plus we're going to see, I think, a big jump after the next season for the cap because they have a new TV deal coming for the NHL, so there's going to be a lot more money all around for the whole league.
Yeah.
So I think next season, once they get through next season, this upcoming season.
Yeah, so let's put it this way. If Jones is a trade candidate at that point then, right? Let's say we're not doing buyouts, all right? Let's say he's a trade candidate. So then you got to find a team that is looking for a goaltender who's maybe had a bit of a down season, can rebound. And if you can find a team that's interested in that, then okay, great. You can make a trade, get him out. But otherwise, I mean, you've got him for a while, and the 5.75 is not that much. I know people say, "Oh, you're paying him way too much."
No,
you're
that's
paying,
actually pretty cheap.
That's pretty cheap, I think. Yeah, considering what other starting
Considering
goaltenders get
he
paid.
got to the Stanley Cup Finals and 2 games away from
the
Finals again.
Yeah,
I think that's his playoff numbers speak for themselves.
Sure.
I don't really care about the regular seasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be, but you're gonna have a hard time. I think you're gonna have a hard time moving a guy. See, people always want to trade players when they think that they suck, and if they actually do suck, who's gonna want them?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Who's gonna want him? Doesn't matter if you're paying him $1 million a year, if you're paying him $10 million a year. If he sucks, no one's
Everyone
gonna want him.
complains about him, and then when they try and trade him, they go, "Oh, well, he's really good."
Yeah, exactly, right. So I don't know. You gotta take a stance here. Either he's good enough or he's not. I think he's good enough. I think the defense in front of him again is going to get a lot better this season. I think he's going to be a little bit sharper. Hopefully he gets. Our possession numbers are going to be a little bit down because Cows ain't there. Nyquist won't be there, and to be a little bit lower than what we're used to seeing, and he's going to get more pucks on net, which could be a good thing. Like I had said, if he's only feeling 3 pucks in a period, he's not getting warmed up. He's not getting into the flow of the game. Maybe he needs to feel the puck a little bit more.
That was a 56 save performance against Vegas in Game 6,
Yeah.
I believe. He stole that game in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
He was in it.
Yeah.
And he had shots galore on him.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a few more pucks to really get into the flow of it. So, I don't know. Again, I think really with Martin Jones, I think a lot of people blew it a little bit out of proportion because of his numbers. I don't see them as his numbers. I know they're goalie stats, and that's what we call them, but I don't think those are, Martin Jones numbers. I think those are the San Jose Sharks numbers, and they weren't very good, and I think that all of that's going to improve next season with Bob Boughner at the helm.
Yep. All right.
Defensively.
Going to the roll call. Rob Iman is in Fresno. Angelo Nunez, San Jose, found you last season. Mr. Sandpaper, San Diego. Jack Frost, North Carolina, found you guys at the Carlson trade. Thanks for staying up late, Jack. That's awesome. Sarah, Sacramento. Keith, San Jose, last season. Marty T, Alberta here. How's your guys' golf game? I don't actually golf.
I've tried golfing a couple times, and it did not go very well.
I thought you did a little bit more than just a few times.
Not really. I don't own my own. Well, I actually do own a set of clubs because my dad got them at a garage sale.
Yeah.
That was like a long time ago. I brought them out to the driving range one time with some guys I used to work with, and they were looking at me going, "What are these?" And one guy was like, "You could probably sell those for a good amount." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, they're like antiques."
They squeak.
They squeak. They're actual woods.
Yeah.
Where was I? Karina Sarkari, San Jose, mid last season, watched every video since.
Nice.
Yep. Oh, one more. Anthony Sanchez, Watsonville, California, home of the Strawberries, watching since last preseason. Awesome.
Nice.
And Gunn, I've shared before, but Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's awesome.
Fayetteville.
And soccer skills is down in Manteca.
Very cool.
Up
Hey
in
guys,
Manteca.
thanks a lot for tuning in, man.
Yep.
We appreciate that, you guys. That's awesome.
Yep. So we're gonna wrap up now, and we're gonna record our episode 52, which will be out, I think, tomorrow. Right, producer Jason?
Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe Saturday. Who
We'll
knows?
see.
We'll see.
Next couple of days, it'll be out.
Cool. So again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We love having these conversations back and forth. Make sure that you share this stuff with your friends who enjoy talking Sharks, because that's basically what we're trying to do here. We're just sitting around chatting Sharks just like you would with your buddies. So have them jump on in and throw some comments down for us to chat with you guys about. That'd be awesome.
We also have our store, which I guess I should promote.
Yeah, go ahead.
And here's one of our
It's over there.
shirts
Yeah.
over here. I'll send the link out right now to support the show, and that helps us get season 2 all ready to go.
Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter at The Fin Factor, and Instagram is at Fin Factor. If you followed any of those, you saw Finn, the new Shark Pup, at Shark Pup, I believe is his Twitter handle. The dog has a Twitter handle.
It's awesome.
How awesome is that? Yeah, 11 weeks old, absolutely adorable little puppy. I was able to show up with my son, actually, and we took some pictures, and we'll put some of that stuff into the episode, I'm sure, as well. So, yeah, give Shark Pup a follow, too. He deserves it.
Yep.
Very cute stuff. Anyway, one last thing here. We had a fan of the show. I don't know if I should say his name or not, but we had a fan of the show gave us this bowling pin. This is a I don't know if it's one of a kind or what, but
I doubt it's one of a kind.
it might not
If there's
be.
others out there, maybe we can get 10.
That's what super producer Jason was saying. Hey, where are the other 9? So guys, if there are 9 more of you that have these bowling pins, let us know. We are in need. So anyway, it's cool Shark logo on the front, and then on the back side it's the other Shark logo. See, again, they keep doing this logo, this one. I feel like this one's coming to a jersey near you. You don't think so?
This pin is new?
I bet it's happening. This pin's new. Yeah, it's brand new. Well, new to me. I don't know. It's new to me.
Probably a year or two.
Could be.
No,
I have
long, no
idea.
more than 2 years.
Think so?
They started using that more recently.
I'm telling you, this is going to end up on the front of a jersey.
Is that an actual pin?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Heavy?
It's supposed
No,
to
it's
be
not
really
that bad.
heavy.
Well, it's... Anyway, this is my pin. So
It's a big
there you
paperweight.
go. Cool. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah, that's it for the show.
We're done. We're done.
We're done.
Thank you guys again for tuning in. We will get to recording, and we will see you guys
In a few days.
Maybe Saturday. Maybe tomorrow.
Yep.
No, maybe not.
Crickets.
Crickets. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.